The wind howled through the ruined jungle lab as smoke drifted from shattered walls and cracked glass domes. Sergeant Kalen gripped his rifle tighter, breath steady, boots slow across broken tiles. He had been sent to extract survivors from the alien medical outpost. But he found only silence and bloodstains. His team was dead. Burned armor, snapped limbs, helmets split open. The attackers didn't come for war, they came for something specific. Something strange had happened here. And Kalen wasn't sure he was alone. A soft blue light flickered deep inside the collapsed hallway. It wasn't a flame. It pulsed like a heartbeat, slow and warm. He followed it, stepping over broken stretchers and cracked alien tanks filled with pale liquid. He reached a thick door, half melted. His HUD blinked red, warning of radiation and unknown biomatter. Still, he pushed through. Inside the chamber, the floor was scorched black. Medical tables had been crushed. But in the center, lying in a pool of faint glowing fluid, was a girl. Not human. Her skin was smooth, pale violet. Her long silvery hair was soaked, and her body shook like a leaf. She was barely conscious, clutching a broken vial to her chest. Kalen froze. Not just because she was alien, but because she was beautiful in a strange way. He had seen many species during the long wars. None looked this fragile. None reached out with trembling fingers like she did now. "You," she whispered, eyes wide with pain. "You are the source, the milk, the cure." He blinked. "What did you say?" She tried to lift herself but fell back, coughing up something blue. Her voice shook. "My kind are dying. The virus. We thought we made a cure. We failed. But you hold the real one. Your milk, it's in your blood, your genes. You are the last chance for my world to survive." Kalen stepped closer, unsure if she was delirious or telling the truth. But her body showed signs of injury, burns, cuts, strange glowing scars. She wasn't lying about the attack. "You're injured," he said. "I have medkits." She shook her head. "No, your healing doesn't work. Only touch. I was made to sense what others can't. You're the key." Then she grabbed his hand, placed it gently on the side of her neck. Her skin was burning hot. But as his skin touched hers, the light under her skin pulsed again, brighter now. Her body calmed slightly. "See?" she whispered. "You stabilize me." He didn't understand. But something in her tone, in her weak grip, made him stay. He could have left. He should have reported this to command. But something deeper held him there. Not duty, not orders. Something older, more human. She closed her eyes and leaned her forehead against his chest, as if his heartbeat soothed her. "I was a healer for my people. But when I tried to make the cure from Earth DNA, others saw it as betrayal. They destroyed everything, but they didn't know. You were the real path." Kalen scanned the room again. Strange machines were shattered. One still had data blinking. His translator tried to make sense of it. Immune bonding, gene milk transference, compatibility rates. It all pointed to one thing. This alien girl had found something in human biology. Her kind couldn't reproduce, and she had tested it on herself. Kalen felt the weight of it settle in his chest. He wasn't a doctor. He wasn't special. He was just a soldier. But she didn't need a genius. She needed his presence, his body, his contact. Outside, engines screamed. Dropships were landing. But not human ones. The attackers were back. She grabbed his wrist with sudden strength. "They'll kill you. If they know what you are. They'll destroy you before you can give the cure. You have to hide me. We must bond before I die. Please." He didn't have time to argue. He pulled her into his arms. She gasped, weak but trusting. Her skin glowed brighter, as if his closeness fed some kind of deep reaction. Footsteps echoed down the corridor. Weapons clanked. Kalen ducked behind the broken wall, cradling her body. His rifle was silent. His pulse wasn't. She looked up at him with fear and hope in her glowing eyes. "Please, human. Let me live, let me heal, let me stay close to you. Just until my body takes the full bond." And without knowing why, Kalen whispered, "Okay." Asterisk, the footsteps grew louder as Kalen held her tightly behind the scorched wall. His heart pounded in his chest while the alien girl's soft breath warmed his neck. She was barely awake now, but her glow still pulsed where her skin touched his chest. He peeked over the rubble and saw tall armored figures moving through the hall. Their armor was black, curved like insect shells, and their weapons hissed with electric energy. They weren't scavengers or pirates. This was a kill squad sent to wipe out anything that remained. The alien girl stirred in his arms and whispered, "If they find me, they will rip the cure from my body. They don't want peace, they want control." Kalen didn't know who they were, but he believed her. There was something real about her fear. He looked around, saw a broken medical hatch behind them. He moved fast, crawling with her through the debris, careful not to make a sound. Inside the small chamber, the lights flickered and air smelled of burnt plastic. Kalen lowered her onto a soft stretcher, which crunched beneath their weight. She groaned softly, holding her side. Her skin looked too pale now, and her glow dimmed. He searched the shelves, grabbed a bottle of alien fluid, and pressed it to her lips. She sipped weakly, then reached up and touched his jaw. "I need more of you, not food, not drink, just you." Her words confused him, but her body reacted to his presence in a way that wasn't normal. Wherever their skin touched her, vitals stabilized. He didn't understand how, but he knew she wasn't lying. Kalen sat close beside her and gently wrapped his arms around her again. She sighed in relief, her body going limp. "That's better. You calm my cells. They respond to your heat, your heartbeat. Even the scent of your skin." He had never felt so needed before. On the battlefield, he was just another number. Here, in her arms, he was something else, something vital to her life. It made his throat tighten. Suddenly, a loud clank echoed outside. One of the soldiers kicked open a door. Kalen held his breath, pulling her against him and pressing his back to the cold metal wall. She trembled in his arms but didn't speak. A shadow passed the small window of the chamber, pausing. Kalen could see the edge of the soldier's helmet. Any sound, and they would be found. His finger hovered over the trigger of his weapon, ready to protect her at any cost. Then the shadow moved on. The soldier didn't check inside. Just 1 second of luck, and they were spared. Kalen let out a breath slowly, heart still racing. The alien girl looked up at him weakly, eyes shining. "You risked everything for me," she said softly. Why? He didn't know the answer. Maybe because she was helpless. Maybe because she was different from the cold, violent creatures he'd fought before. Or maybe it was how she clung to him like he was the only safe thing left in her universe. She pulled something from her side, a small crystal sphere, glowing faint blue. "This holds the map to my people, the ones still alive. If I die, take this to them. They must know that Earth holds the cure." Kalen looked at the crystal, then at her. "You're not going to die," he said. "Not while I'm here," she smiled, weak but warm. "Then stay close. Just for a little longer. Your presence, it repairs what they broke." He laid beside her on the narrow stretcher, letting their bodies stay pressed together. As minutes passed, her glow returned, slow but stronger than before. It wasn't just his touch, it was something deeper. A strange energy between their lives. "I wasn't made to love," she whispered. "I was made to heal. But with you, something changes inside. I don't just heal. I feel." Kalen stared at the ceiling, unsure what to say. The war had taken so much from him, but this moment felt like the first real thing in years. And the girl in his arms, alien or not, was the only light in this dark place. Outside, the kill squad moved on, searching deeper into the wreckage. But in that hidden chamber, surrounded by silence and soft blue glow, a human soldier and an alien healer clung to one another like the last hope for two dying worlds. Kalen didn't sleep. He lay beside the alien girl as her glow brightened gently through the hours. Her body was cooler now, the trembling gone. She breathed calmly, her head resting just below his chin, her hand lightly placed over his heart. The broken lab was quiet except for the soft hum of dying systems. Every now and then, a distant thud reminded him the enemy still searched nearby. But in that small chamber, hidden under debris and sealed shut, he felt time had stopped. When the girl finally stirred, her silver lashes fluttered open. She looked up at him with soft surprise, as if unsure he was still real. "You didn't leave," she whispered, voice low and grateful. "You stayed." "I said I would," he answered. "You're not safe without me." She smiled faintly, then slowly sat up. Her movement was careful, but no longer weak. Her skin had color again, and the glow beneath it pulsed smoothly. She touched her stomach where a deep burn had once been. "It was healing fast. My body absorbed your presence overnight," she said, amazed. "It's like your life force speaks to my cells. I don't understand it fully, but it's working." Kalen raised an eyebrow. "You said something about milk? My blood? What does that mean?" She reached for the glowing sphere she had given him. It flickered with patterns as she touched it, showing strange alien diagrams. "Your biology creates something our healers never could. We called it Life Milk Pure Regenerative Serum, made from touch, scent, heat, and bonding. You produce it naturally, like a star feeding a planet." He stared at her. "So I'm medicine?" She shook her head. "You're more than that. You're a source. You give life through presence, through closeness. Our people once had this gift, but it was lost in evolution, replaced by machines. You still carry it. Somehow your kind kept the warmth we forgot." Kalen leaned back, trying to absorb the truth. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't special. Yet she looked at him like he was a miracle. She moved closer again, fingers brushing his chest. "But it only works when given willingly. If forced, the cure dies. That's why they can't extract it with machines. That's why they killed everyone here. They didn't believe in kindness." Outside, a loud engine roared. Kalen tensed, grabbed his rifle, and peeked through the cracked wall. A black ship hovered above the canopy, scanning for survivors. Lights flashed. He pulled back quickly, heart pounding. "They're still looking," he said. "They won't stop." She nodded, serious now. "They can't let this secret out. If others find out that humans can restore us, it would change everything. The balance of power, the value of Earth, the worth of one life." He looked at her, his throat dry. "So what happens now?" "We leave," she said. "I know where the safe zone is, but I can't reach it alone. I need your help not just to survive, but to bring the cure with us. Together, we carry something too important to fall." Kalen didn't need more convincing. He packed quickly, helped her stand, and slung his rifle over his shoulder. The broken chamber opened into an underground shaft. She led him down the metal stairs, her soft glow lighting the path. As they descended deeper into the base, strange machines lined the walls. Alien tech, long abandoned, blinked as if it sensed her. Doors unlocked. Lights came on. She moved through like the lab remembered her. "This was my home," she said quietly, "before they turned against me. I was a healer. Then I became a fugitive. Just for believing a human could help us." He touched her arm gently. "You weren't wrong." She smiled again, sad but proud. "No, I wasn't." At the bottom, a chamber opened into a hangar. A sleek silver craft sat there, dusty but intact. "This was built for escape," she said. "Only one pilot. But now I know it was meant for two. they entered the ship. She slid into the control seat and gestured for him to sit behind her. The craft hummed to life, warm and soft like the tone of her voice. Once we launch, there's no turning back. They'll chase us across the stars. He buckled in. Then we'd better not let them catch us. As the ship rose, light filled the chamber. The lab collapsed behind them, swallowed by dust and trees. Above, enemy crafts scanned the skies, but her ship slipped past them, shielded and silent. Kalen looked out the window, watching the jungle shrink below. Beside him, the alien girl placed her hand on his, warm and steady. "We are no longer just two survivors," she whispered. "We are the beginning of healing." Asterisk. The stars stretched out like silver rivers as the ship passed through the upper atmosphere. Kalen watched them in silence, strapped into the co-pilot's chair. The alien girl beside him still glowing faintly with soft light. She moved her fingers over the controls like an artist, guiding the ship with ease. Her breathing was calm now, her injuries nearly gone. It had only been hours since they fled the ruins, but she already looked stronger, more alive. Kalen shifted slightly, noticing how she leaned closer to him without realizing. Her skin brushed against his arm, and that familiar pulse of warmth returned. It was more than healing now. It was like they were tuned to the same signal. "Are you feeling better?" he asked, voice low. She nodded, not taking her eyes off the stars. "More than better. My cells are recharged. My neural flow is steady. You've done more than restore my health. You've awakened something we thought extinct." He looked at her with quiet curiosity. "You mean this life milk thing? The healing power?" "No," she said softly. "I mean connection. Real connection. My people call it virali, the silent bond between two who trust without fear. It's rare, sacred, but you, Kalen, you gave it freely, without demand." He felt her words settle deep in his chest. No one had ever said things like that to him. On Earth, soldiers were trained not to feel. They were taught to follow, obey, survive. But she made him feel needed, not for orders, but for who he was. She touched a glowing panel and brought up a map of distant star systems. "We're heading to Nithra 5. It's a hidden sanctuary. My people still live there in secret. If I return with you, they'll see the truth with their own eyes." Kalen nodded. "And if they believe you, then what?" She turned to him, her face glowing softly. "Then we begin to heal not just bodies, but trust. Peace may still be possible, Kalen, between our kinds. But only if we show them what we found." As the ship moved quietly through the stars, Kalen began to see her people's history through fragments in the navigation logs. Images of tall cities, gentle gardens, glowing waters, and long-forgotten rituals filled the screen. But there were darker records too: wars, betrayal, sickness, and exile. "These are memories of pain," she said, lowering her voice. "We replaced touch with machines, love with logic. We lost the warmth inside us, but I think your kind held on to it." Kalen gave her a small smile. "We're not perfect, but we feel, even when we try not to." She reached out, gently placing her hand over his. "That's why you're dangerous to them. Not because of weapons, but because of kindness. Because your touch heals without taking." For a moment, neither spoke. The silence between them felt full, warm, like the steady hum of the ship's core. Her fingers didn't leave his hand, and he didn't pull away. The bond between them wasn't just growing, it was alive. Suddenly, alarms blinked red on the console. An enemy beacon had locked onto them from behind. A sleek black fighter burst from the void, trailing plasma heat. Kalen stood up fast, gripping the edge of his seat. "They found us," he shouted. She was already moving, sliding her hands over the controls with sharp focus. "They must have tracked the escape signal. We have one chance to shake them. Hold on." The ship dove sharply, spinning through asteroid debris. The black fighter followed close, firing beams of energy that sizzled past their hull. Kalen grabbed the side rail, his body thrown sideways. He saw her face tense with effort, but not fear. She was trained, even under pressure. And somehow she was still beautiful, even as their ship danced between fire and death. "I'll draw power from the bond," she said quickly. "But I need you close. You charge the ship's biocore. Without you, the system shut down." He didn't hesitate. He moved to her side, wrapped one arm around her waist, and pulled her close as they sat together in the pilot seat. The ship responded instantly. Lights surged, engines roared, and the fighter fell behind. With a final jolt of light-speed energy, the ship vanished into warp space, leaving the enemy far behind in the darkness. They stayed like that, pressed close, heartbeat sinking, until the ship settled back into calm. Her breathing slowed. Her hand found his again, warm and steady. "You saved me again," she whispered. "And this time, I think you saved yourself too." The warp tunnel opened slowly, revealing a blue star hanging over a lush green planet. Kalen had never seen anything like it. The world below shimmered with rings of clouds, glowing rivers, and floating islands that moved gently through the sky. Like ships on water, the alien girl placed her palm against the viewing glass. Her glow brightened as she looked down. "That's Mithra 5, she whispered. "Home. At least what's left of it." Kalen stood beside her, silent. He could feel how important this moment was to her. She wasn't just returning to her world, she was returning as proof that humans could help heal it. As they descended into the atmosphere, the ship passed over quiet forests, silver lakes, and strange tower-like trees. No cities, no warships. Just hidden beauty that seemed untouched by violence. She guided the ship toward a large open valley. A soft blue signal lit up from the ground. Someone was waiting. "They've sensed my biosignature," she said. "They'll come to meet. US, be careful, Kalen. Not all of them will believe what we've done." The ship touched down on a smooth platform of glowing crystal. As the engines cooled, soft music-like tones drifted in from the trees. Kalen stepped out with her, scanning the area. No weapons in sight, but watchers hid in the trees. Then they came, tall, elegant beings with glowing skin and calm eyes. Their bodies were covered in soft fabrics that shimmered in the light. They looked at her with both wonder and suspicion. One of them stepped forward, his eyes narrowing at Kalen. "You've returned," the tall alien said. His voice echoed like wind through glass. "But what have you brought with you?" She bowed her head gently. "Hope," some of them gasped. Others stared at the human, like he was a threat. Kalen kept still, his hands open. The girl moved closer to him, placing a protective hand on his chest. "This is the one," she said. "His presence restored me. His body healed what even our machines could not. His kindness made me strong." The elder stepped forward and looked deep into Kalen's eyes. "Is it true, human? Did you give of yourself freely?" "I didn't understand at first," Kalen said quietly. "But yes, I stayed. I helped. I didn't do it for power or gain. I did it because she asked." The aliens looked at each other. Some began murmuring in a strange language. The elder raised his hand, and they fell silent. "If what you say is true," he said, "then we must test the bond." Kalen felt her hand tighten around his. "What kind of test?" "You must enter the healing dome," the elder replied. "It will draw from your bond. If the light within you is real, it will spread. If not, the dome will reject you." The alien girl turned to Kalen. "You don't have to do this." He met her eyes. "Yes, I do." They were led to a large, round chamber made of living crystal. The walls pulsed softly like a sleeping heart. In the center was a platform. Kalen stepped onto it, and she joined him, their hands still linked. The dome glowed. Then it began to hum. A soft wind surrounded them, lifting their hair. Threads of light rose from her skin, reaching toward him. He felt warmth in his chest, in his blood, in his bones. Suddenly light exploded around them, blinding, pure, soft. As silk, the dome responded with music. The watchers outside gasped, falling to their knees. The elder covered his mouth in shock. The girl leaned her head against Kalen's chest. It worked. The bond is real. You are the source. You are the cure. The dome released them, calm and glowing. Kalen stepped down slowly, dizzy but unhurt. The aliens parted silently, many now looking at him not with fear, but with awe. The elder finally spoke again. Then it is true. Humanity carries what we lost, the warmth that binds, the milk of life, the healing touch. She smiled, tears forming in her eyes. Now will you listen? Now will you help me bring peace? The elder bowed his head. Yes, if one human can carry such power in his body and still offer it freely, perhaps others can too. Kalen stood beside her, still holding her hand as her people surrounded them. No one cheered. No one shouted, but the air around them changed. The silence felt holy. Asterisk for the next 3 days, Kalen stayed within the healing dome. Each time he entered, his presence lit up the crystal walls. The energy from his body flowed into the air, into the alien healers, into the soil samples and sick bodies they brought inside. The alien girl stayed by his side the whole time. She taught him how to sit in stillness, how to let his warmth flow out naturally. He didn't need machines. Just closeness, breathing, and presence. It was strange, but it worked. Dozens of the wounded were brought to him. Some barely breathing, some scarred and dying. They touched his hand, they pressed their skin to his chest. And each time their bodies glowed brighter, stronger, more alive. Kalen saw it with his own eyes. The virus that had destroyed entire colonies began to dissolve inside them. Fever faded. Eyes cleared. Scars healed. It wasn't magic. It was life pure, patient, and shared. He began to understand what she meant by milk. It wasn't literal. It was a word for essence, for energy humans gave freely without knowing. Heat, heartbeat, smell, care, all wrapped in simple human closeness. The girl told him stories during quiet moments. Her people once shared this gift long ago. But when their cities grew too large and their hearts too cold, they turned to machines. Machines couldn't love. Machines couldn't share warmth. That's why she had studied Earth in secret. That's why she had broken her oath to search for a human. She didn't want power, she wanted healing. And in Kalen, she had found it. On the 5th day, the council gathered once more. The tall alien leaders looked different, now less distant, more open. Their bodies glowed faintly, as if touched by something soft and gentle for the first time in years. The elder stepped forward. We have watched, we have tested, and we have felt it ourselves. This human holds what we lost. And he gave it without asking anything in return. Another elder bowed to Kalen. You saved not only her, but all of us. You reminded us who we used to be. Kalen looked at them quietly. I'm not special. I'm just one man. I didn't know I could help anyone until she showed me. The girl stood beside him, her face shining. That's what makes him special. Then the council made a decision, one that would change the galaxy. They would send ambassadors to Earth, not to demand, not to conquer, but to ask, to explain, to form a bond, but only if Earth agreed freely. Because healing could not be taken. It could only be given. Kalen was asked to speak to Earth's leaders, not as a soldier, but as a living bridge. He accepted, knowing it would not be easy. But when he looked at the girl beside him, he felt courage rise inside. Before he left, she took him to the top of a floating cliff, where glowing plants shimmered under twin moons. There, she placed her hand on his chest and said softly, You didn't just save my body. You gave me something I thought I'd never feel again. What's that? He asked, voice low. She looked into his eyes. Peace. Then she leaned forward and kissed him gently. It wasn't passionate or wild. It was soft, respectful, and full of meaning. Her touch said what words couldn't, that he was part of her now. He held her close, feeling the warmth pass between them. Not just heat but understanding, trust, love. The next day, Kalen boarded his ship back to Earth, but this time he wasn't returning alone. She would come with him, an ambassador of hope. Together, they would explain what the galaxy had forgotten, that sometimes the most powerful cure wasn't a weapon or a drug. It was a person willing to hold another without fear, to give of themselves, quietly, fully, and without demand. As the ship rose into the stars again, she rested her head on his shoulder, and he whispered, "I'm glad I didn't walk away that day." And she smiled, closing her eyes. "Me too, Kalen, me too."